Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 5, Episode 7, and we're back today for a game against top of the table Leeds as we start a spell of horrific games while looking to get out of relegation trouble. You can see it's very tight at the bottom. 3 points separate the bottom 7 sides, and we're hoping that we can stay in touch before an end of season spell against all the sides around us. But before that, we've come back in the morning of the game just because it also happens to be youth intake day, and we want to see if there's any more special products coming through the Barnsley Academy. It's our first season here, or our first few months here, so hopefully we'll be able to see someone come through. Let's go and have a look at that, and then we'll worry about on the pitch matters in a moment. So let's see the message. Is it going to be one of the good ones? Not the best, just one of the best to come through the academy in recent years. Not one of the better messages, so we've just got to hope there's something special. And more importantly is what position they are. We've got loads of centre-halves and a centre midfielder or two, but can we get some players to go around that? Let's have a look. Oh, they're both centre-halves again. We've now got 6 centre-halves that are well rated, coming through within 4 years of each other. But unfortunately, there's nothing in other positions. There's one striker, but he's not got much room for development. And there's a goalkeeper, but he's not quite at the same standard. So let's look at the 2-star centre-halves. Samuel Rees is a 16-year-old, 1.5 ability, 4-star potential. Looks fairly solid all round again, and a balanced personality. And then 15-year-old George Stewart, the man that was in the message, same star ability and potential, a left footer who's fairly professional, doesn't look quite as good mentally, but again is a year younger, so you might expect that, and to be fair, he looks alright aside. He can also play centre midfield and left back, so might be a good versatile player for the future. But to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with that. Let's just have a look at the striker in case he can make an impact now. He can't. He's unambitious and mentally he's terrible. So his work rate's okay, decent pace and finishing, but not much else. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that one, and it's not the best way to start an episode. So hopefully things can only get better from here as we skip through the rest of the day to get to the evening for match day time, and then we'll look at our previous results and how we've been getting on since we joined the club. We'll also show you the tactic that we've decided to use just to try and get us out of trouble for the season before we build the side we want next year. Okay, it's match time, so we've got some tactics to show you. Danny Ainsley's just on his way back from injury. Joel's still got a broken arm. He got that in the second or third game we were here. And unfortunately, although he can play, he's not been fit. And the one time we did try to play him through the pain barrier, it didn't really work out. Let's look at the results since we've been here. You can see we haven't really changed too much, but we've actually been doing alright. You were with me for our first game at the club, which was that demolition defeat at home to Cardiff. They were one of our rivals at the time, but they seem to have pulled out of trouble with that one. We then lost away at Peterborough, another side down there, a narrow 2-1 defeat in that one, and it was a similar story to the Cardiff one. It was an even game, and if anything in this occasion we edged it, but we just haven't got the quality at the back. At home to Brentford, we nicked a 2-1 win. We went behind in the first minute, and you should have seen my face at that point, but thankfully Corley Woodrow equalised from the spot before nicking a winner with 10 minutes to go. That was our first game in our new formation, and we got on the winning sheet, and that meant that we stuck with it for the rest of the time. Our only defeat since then was away at Leicester, which shows you how well the other teams have been doing, as we're still down in 23rd. We've got 3 wins and 2 draws in our last 6 games, and 11 out of 18 points hasn't moved us up in the league. In our defeat at Leicester, Juninho scored a goal, a man that might be familiar. We mentioned him when we joined the club. He was out on loan and he had a recall clause, so when we weren't getting signings in and the director of football didn't have money to bring a new man into the club, we had to make sure we got our best ones back. Our best victory came 4-1 at home to Crystal Palace, but it was aided by a sending off when we'd just gone 1-0 up. Without that, I think it would have been a very even game, but Mowat, Woodrow and Garner all added to Adebayo Ajo's early goal, and we were 4-0 up before Palace got their consolation. We then went away to bottom of the table Ipswich at the time. A late equaliser for them after another early Corley Woodrow penalty meant that we dropped 2 more points. And then at home to Reading we had the same result. This time again it was a penalty we conceded at 2-1 up, which meant that we went away with just the 1 point. But in the last game away to Derby we won 2-0. Both target men got a goal in that one from the start in Woodrow and then Keenan Davis off the bench. So we go into this one in good form, but our next 4 games are all against sides in the top 7 and the next two in particular against the runaway 2 for automatic promotion. We've then got a spell in the end of the season when 4 of our last 6 games are against teams in and around us, so that could be crucial, but we've got to still be in touch at that point. So let's go and have a look at the table and where we stand. It's remarkably close down there. You've not seen much like that for a while. The bottom of the playoffs is the same, but you can see our next two opponents, Leeds and Southampton, are miles clear of the pack and are almost certain for automatic promotion already. So we very much got a chance, but it's just about getting out of danger this season. If we can keep our job for next year, we can start to build the club we want. But we know this is going to be the hardest bit, getting to the end of the season and being 21st or above when it comes round. So let's go and have a look at the lineup and the tactics we've been using and see if they can serve us well as we face title chasing Leeds. They've got the top scorer in the league in Jack Clark, who looks one hell of a player up there. That's a Premier League striker, but we'll try our best and see what we can do. Let's go and look at the lineup and see if we're favourites. We are remarkably. 23rd Barnsley at home to first place Leeds. They've only won one of their last 5 games, although it was the most recent one. And we're somehow favourites for the match, although I don't quite believe that's true. Let's have a look at the 11 we've picked today. This is the formation we've mainly been using. We've got one new signing to talk about, and then obviously Bakuna, who we've loaned back. We'll mention a few of the players we sent out as well. Where we have had a player out injured, particularly Ainsley, we've occasionally dropped a man in here and had Garner as the central midfielder. But now he's out injured, we haven't got an option. This is the 4 we have to play. So in the next episode where we're playing a game at the end of the season, you may see a return to the 4-1-3-2, but for now it's the narrow diamond and we'll try and make things work. If we look at our one transfer in, it's Van Leberger, a player that was signed by our director of football. Obviously in this save we don't have a say in transfers or contracts, so we're just hoping that they can do something special. It looks like a really solid signing, a decent holding midfielder, a natural centre-half cover, and a player that can play in central midfield and just about anywhere else on the pitch as well. Reminds me a bit of Greg Halford back in 05 or 06. One of the FMs around there. You'd sign him at any club because he could play every position. The only thing this lad can't do is be awkward in goal. He's ineffectual there, which is the only difference between him and Halford. We've also got Juninho back, as we mentioned. He's made a real impact for us. He's one of the best players at the club, and I don't know why he was out on loan before, unless it was for financial reasons or he just had a breakdown with the old manager. If we look at the few that have gone out, we've got Pinnock and John on their way. We'd mentioned them when we came into the club. We've managed to loan out Amir Berkovic, who was obviously a bit of a hero in our other series with Torquay. We sold Ebanks Lendl for 220 grand, Flanagan for 70, and loaned out a couple of the youngsters. So not much transfer activity, and we'll look for our director of football to move a few more on over the summer. We're going to meet him in a moment as well. Van der Berger we paid nearly 200 grand for. His contract was out in the summer, but he seemed to be worth the money. Let's go and look at our director of football. It's the man we were linked with in the last episode. He's joined the club and he's been fantastic so far. Dougie Freedman, the former Palace and Bolton man, 12 judging ability, 13 potential, 16 tactical knowledge. Looks like he could be a decent manager. Maybe they're wishing they'd picked him instead of me, but he's got all the attributes we need, combined with a professional personality. We've got Lumley in goal. We've changed him back to the goalkeeper role. We didn't want him getting caught out at the back. Lindsay's back, the captain, alongside Pass, 2 ball-playing defenders, and Malone and Jackson, the wing-backs. Jackson covering for the injured fullback from Switzerland. Scully's in the holding role as a deep-line playmaker. 2 Mazzalas in the middle of midfield. Goodwin and Bakuna. Goodwin's unhappy because Dougie Freedman rejected a bid rising to 11.5 million from Everton. I'm not quite sure why he did, because he's got a release clause of 10, which goes down if we get relegated. I can understand wanting to keep the prospects at the club, but I really think we could have done with the 11.5 million, and he also had a 40% sell-on clause there too. He looks a quality player, probably the best at the club, but I could have understand if that one was accepted. Ainsley's in the number 10 role just back from injury, and Adebayo partners Woodrow up front. Woodrow, who's been the key goal threat for us so far. We've got a few decent game changers on the bench, although many of them are wingers, so we'll have to change shape if we need to. We're sticking to a balanced mentality for now. We may go positive as we have against some of the lower teams, but playing the league leaders and second place in the next 2 games, we don't want to overcommit. We're trying to play a bit narrower, we don't want to get caught out with our attacking fullbacks, and in particular when we're out of possession, we're counter-pressing really quickly and then winning it back and countering at speed. We're trying to play the ball through the middle of the pitch as you'd expect, as we don't have any wide players aside from the fullbacks. Let's get into this match. I'm not expecting much, but miracles do happen. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Leeds. We've really struggled against this formation the couple of times we played against it. The wingers cause all sorts of chaos as our defenders can't handle it with the fullbacks charging on. They've got Carl Jenkins and Alex McCarthy added to a lot of the players that are there at the start of the game. We saw Clark the striker, certainly the key man, and I'm not sure if we'll be able to compete with them in this one. What are we going to tell the lads? We're going to tell them to go and prove the critics wrong. I'm not sure it makes much of a difference. It's a derby as well, so when we get embarrassed, I'm sure the fans will turn. We're just going to pick the second option, as we're more worried about what happens on the pitch. We've got the kick-off and the ball's back to Ainsley. If we could pull off a shock in this one, it would be great. But Leeds are already 3-on-2 in the first few seconds. Scully recovers well, but that's a warning sign very early on. The throw will be taken on the left by Leeds. Not sure why it looked like that one was going to end, but it's back to Forshaw 30 yards out. He goes outside to the left-hand side. Delivery to the back post, which Lindsay heads away, but only as far as Forshaw. Jenkinson's overlapping on the right. Into the box, his cross is deflected, and Scully clears long to Adebayo. On the left, with not much support. Finds Woodrow with a great pass, though. Into the box, puts it in the bottom corner, and with just over a minute on the clock, we've somehow taken the lead. What a wonderful counter-attack. And this could be a proper turn up for the books. Leeds have got to throw in a quarter of the game gone. We haven't seen another highlight. A lot of anxious players on their side in terms of mentality. And they've also had an injury which has meant Tyler Roberts has come on as well. Not much of a weakening of the team, but certainly good to see one of the subs used up. We're forcing them backwards well there. High pressing is part of our game. It's the most important key aspect. We didn't quite get it right for the first 2 or 3, but since we've done really well. And we've restricted Leeds to no shots so far, which has been good as we've done in most other games. The problem is the amount of chances we concede. When we do give away 2 or 3 shots, we let in a goal from nearly all of them. The amount of chances we let in isn't too many. It's just the fact that all of them seem to lead to goals or clear goal scoring opportunities. We dominate games, we create more chances. We haven't really done that in this one, but we haven't looked at any threat yet. Just that shot from 25 yards we just saw. Jenkinson charging down the right though. Leeds starting to get into the ascendancy and force us back. They're keeping the ball well in the middle until Jenkinson's overlapping again. Clark loses out in the air. Bakuna gets it to Ainsley and we've got a 2-on-2 again. In towards Adebayo. He's in 1-on-1. Great save by Alex McCarthy for Leeds. And he's gone behind for a throw-in in a dangerous area. Adebayo probably should have scored, but it's good to see us threatening on the counter. 10 minutes to the break and we remarkably lead the league leaders 1-0. Adebayo's been tripped on his way through. Jansen's already booked his off. This is going all our way. Surely we can't throw it away from here. They've gone to a 4-2-2-1. They're still going attacking for it, Leeds, but it looks like a really good sign for us that at half-time we lead by a goal and a man. We couldn't ask for much more in that half. Pontus Jansson with the red card. Corley Woodrow with the early goal, and we've just got to try and make it count in the second half. We're going to tell the lads not to let their performance levels drop. It's Leeds on the left-hand side with Kemar Roof. Malone clears it long over the top towards Woodrow. There's no one up there with him. Woodrow gets it in behind to Ainsley. Adebayo's in the middle, goes alone, but Alex McCarthy makes the save, and is behind for a corner kick. Leeds are hanging on at the moment. If we can get 2-0 up, I'll start to feel confident. But the corner's terrible and it's straight into the keeper. It's the first time we've seen anything near a full house at Oakwell since we've been here. And maybe that's helping the lads too. The red card has obviously been a support, but we were the better side before that as well. 5 into the second half and we still lead 1-0. We've got a throw on the right. It's Jackson to take it back to Scully. He's keeping possession in the middle to Ainsley. Ainsley switches it to Malone with loads of space on the left. 2 in the middle. Woodrow's one of them, but he heads it just wide past the flying Alex McCarthy. I don't think he was going to get there, but luckily for him it went wide at the post. We're still dominating the match, but I'd really feel much more comfortable if we got a second. We've got a free kick with Bakuna on the right. It's comfortably over the bar. We probably didn't need to see that, but at least it's us with the chances again. 20 minutes to go. Let's make a change or two. Goodwin's not had the best game. He's still unhappy about not getting the move. Mowat will come on against his former club, and we might put him on as a deep lying playmaker, although I think we need to keep in the ascendancy. Adebayo's not had the best game. Keenan Davis will be on for him. He'll switch into the target man role, and Corley Woodrow's natural as an advanced forward, so those two just switch positions. Let's get back into it. We'll save the last one for now. With an apprehensive Scully, it could be the new signing Van Lerberger that comes on. 15 to go. Fingers crossed we can nick a vital 3 points. It's Bakuna with a free kick on the edge. Blocked by the wall. I thought it was just going to beat them, but it didn't. It's back to Bakuna again. No, finds Scully. Alex Mowat on against his former club to Lindsay. Now Ainsley holds it up for Jackson, the covering right back, but the highlight ends before we see an attack. We've got a throw on the right with Jackson. Leeds still only had one shot in the whole half. We didn't see it on camera as Ainsley loses the ball, and now they're in one-on-one. This is what happens every time. We dominate games and then give away a silly chance, but it's a great save by Joe Lumley, the keeper. An in-swinging corner from Leeds. Lindsay clears it away, the skipper at the front post, and he's out for a throw-in. Let's make another sub. Bakuna's not had the best of games. Van Lerberger's waiting to come on. I'm not sure who's best in central midfield. Let's bring Van Lerberger on for sure and see which one out of the two of them's best in the middle. I think it'll be Scully, and let's just see if we're right. There's no real difference, to be honest, so we're just going to put Van Lerberger in there. I think he can be a Mazzala just as well as he can do any other role. We might switch them back to Carolero as it's a little less forward thinking, and fingers crossed we can hold on for what will be one of the most important and best results since we've been at the club. Jackson with a throw into Scully. Van Lerberger to Jackson. If we could get a second, we'll start to celebrate, but it's behind for a corner kick. We're going to go to time wasting all the time, play for set pieces and slow it down. You know that we don't want to change our shape now. We're still going to be counter-pressing, but once we get the ball, we want to be as slow as possible. Mowat into the back post. Davis holds it up. There's no one there. Ayling makes the tackle on him and is cleared down the line. We've got a goal kick with Lumley. He goes long over the top towards Woodrow. Loses out in the air, but Liam Cooper doesn't clear it either. Back to Alex McCarthy, the Leeds keeper. Jenkinson on the right. Comes over halfway. This is what happens when you don't kill games off. You end up panicking towards the end. They've regained the ball again on the right after a deflected pass. In towards the back post, it finds the left fullback Ganea. He tries to cross it in. He's deflected behind for a throw, and we're going very defensive. Ganea throws it in. It's crossed to the middle to Forshaw. Great block, last ditch, and we've got to get there before the second chance. It's out to Jenkinson, who's got time out wide again. There's a free man at the back post. It's a great save and a brilliant block. What a challenge it was. I'm trying to find out who it was. Jackson, the youngster. What a brilliant tackle by him. He's been sensational in this game. Davis wins 2 headers. Ainley brings it away. Can he just keep the ball? He finds Corley Woodrow. We've got a 4-on-3 now. Why are there so many men pouring forward? We're on a very defensive mentality and they're all just charging out of the game plan. Scully keeps it to Jackson. He's been sensational, the young right back, and Scully wins the free kick. Surely that's it. We're going to beat our local rivals. We've got a man advantage and a red card. A brilliant challenge from the lads. They've done well to score the goal and we're just about clung on at the end. Pask on the end of the free kick which goes wide, and surely the whistle goes. It does. We've nicked a win. That should take us out of the relegation zone unless we've been very unlucky with results against us. Let's talk to the lads. Leeds did come back into it in the end. They had brilliant chances towards the end, but we dominated for 85 minutes and only panicked when we didn't see it give us a 2 or 3 goal lead. We're going to say well done. It says it's moved us out of the relegation zone, which is all we could have asked for. We're finally starting to make an impact at this club and the lads are really starting to take on board the way we want to play. Look at that. 1 win's taken us up to 19th. 2 points separate the bottom 7 now, and it doesn't get any easier as we go to second place Southampton away from home on Saturday. A 3-day turnaround, so the lads will get a rest from training, but I'm looking more forward to it now we've got that result. The fans should be on side as it's against the rivals, and one of the youth prospects at the club was one of the best players on the pitch. Let's quickly see what the media have said about the game. We go out of the drop zone, that's all they're focusing on. Corley Woodrow's going to get some praise. He was brilliant in front of goal yet again. Been one of the key scorers since we got here. 5 games in a row without losing. The best run for the club this season, so we're glad to have been a part of that. We'll deal with the press conference in a minute. Let's go and have a look at the schedule. When we came into this spell of 4 games, I was really looking to just nick a win from somewhere so we were in touch. We've done that in the first game, so if we can get another point somewhere out of the next 3, it'll really put us in a good position. Then we've got some of the teams that are right down there with us. Our last game of the season is Millwall, who are 18th, and the game before that is Norwich, who are 21st. So we'll be back for either both or one of those games at the end of the season, depending on which becomes the most crucial. But if you did enjoy that episode, please put a thumbs up on it. Let me know down in the comments what you think of how we're settling in at the new club. Do you think we've picked the right tactic? And are there any players you recommend I get in the starting lineup? For me, the last 5 games have been a real positive as we started to develop and stamp our own style on the club. But of course, we're never going to get to that until next season. Beating the league leaders is something we can never complain about though. So hopefully we can do the same against second place Southampton on Saturday. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one The Head Coach, as well as our other series Part of the Furniture. There's also weekly content from our FIFA 19 career and our FM19 touch save from Newcastle United. The latest episodes of those were both out last Friday, so go back and check them out if you haven't yet. But a massive thanks for watching this one as always, and we'll see you next time for the relegation deciders at the end of the season.